This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve... Let me back that up, Britt.
Yep,
Sorry.
not a problem.
Sorry.
Not a problem. We'll start that over.
Little frog in my throat there.
All right.
You need me out of the way?
No, I'm good.
We'll just pull up a new one here. We'll get rid of this one.
Sorry.
No worries. All right.
Get it together.
Get it together.
False
3,
Yep.
2, 1.
This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. This week we'll be having Backswing Brewing beer and discussing net neutrality. This will be part 2 and a more explain it like I'm 5 version. We are your hosts, Brian and Britt, with returning guest host Mike and Grant.
All right. I'm ready to get this ball rolling here.
Got the crew back together from the original net neutrality episode that we did back in June.
And here we go.
Mike, maintain your calm, please.
I kind of went back and listened to the last podcast that we did for this, which was podcast number 19. Now we're podcast number 40, gentlemen. And so I went back and listened to it. It was literally halfway through the show, and we hadn't even gotten to our second drink yet. Yeah. I'm like, guys, come on, guys. Let's get some beers in our hands.
This one we're gonna have to maintain the topic a little more, and I think we got a little too more complicated on that. We got really techie on that one.
What are we starting with, Brian?
You choose any one of those.
Let's start low and work our way high.
Perfect. So you got the brown ale then?
I do.
All right. So we're going to be drinking on Backswing Brewing.
Big shout out to Backswing.
Big shout out. I went out there on Saturday. They're based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So somewhat hometown for us. I mean, we're here in Omaha, so not too far. And went out there, got a little bit of tour. I talked with Pat and Corey out there. They happen to be running the joint out there, and sampled some good beers and got several of the crowlers, which was what we're going to be sampling on today. So the one we are currently doing is their brown ale, which is 6.5% ABV.
How much is in a crowler?
32 ounces. So a pint's 16, so it's really 2 pints. So we're going to be having smaller sample than we're not going to be having the full pints today, but we do have several offerings today. So
good enough.
Yeah. But yeah, the Backswing started. They just celebrated their first year anniversary on November 4th, which they missed it by a day. Remember, the 5th of November.
These were the same guys that we've seen twice in a row at the beer fest, right?
Yeah, at Horseman's Park and then again at Warner Park.
They got us on their Twitter page.
Yep.
I mean, they're rock star people.
Yep. So they just celebrated a year, November 4th. They just opened their tap room last January, so they're coming up on a year on the tap room. And they were, when I went there yesterday, they were actually brewing the second batch of the Gingerbread Stout, which is going to be the one that we drink after this one.
Nice.
They just kegged that Wednesday, and they got it out. They got the kegs out Thursday and Friday to bars and stores. And so Saturday I was drinking it.
Good stuff.
So yeah, it's very fresh. But this is the brown ale.
I really like the beer companies out there that we have a brewery that you can actually go to and visit, and then you can get a crowler.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a crowler machine.
Yeah, I brought my growlers out there, which are 64 ounce, and they're like, they said there's some in Omaha that'll do it, but you're not really supposed to. And I said, well, it's not like another brewery's. These are my
personal ones.
Crowler,
they don't say anything on them.
Right? Yeah. Well, one's has the home brewing name on it, but other than that,
yeah.
But yeah, they said no, we'll do a crowler. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. We'll do the crowlers.
Yeah, Spirit World did the same thing. I was like, hey, I can bring my growler in for more, and they're like, no, you've got to use our 32 ounce ones. And I was like, well, I've got 2 of those at home, so I'll bring those next time.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
So instead of buying 1 growler, you can get 2 crowlers.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the first offering here, shall we try? That is a really dark brown ale.
That is
very dark.
That's like a chocolate.
Cheers.
Almost looks like a chocolate. Cheers. Oh, very Guinnessy in flavor.
Did they? This almost tastes like the gingerbread stout.
Did they maybe mix the two up?
They may have mixed They may have mixed the names up. So,
Whoops.
yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll drink the next one, and
Yeah.
if the next one is super light, then we'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe they mixed them up.
Yeah.
But say Levy, sometimes that happens.
That's all right. So, what do you think of the gingerbread stout?
That's human error.
Not a big deal. They're all going to be delicious. So.
Oh man, this is smooth.
I know.
Right? It's like a Guinness.
Mm-hmm. When I first had it there, I likened it more to a porter because you can actually, like stouts, I don't know that you can see through. You can see through this. It's dark, but you can see through it. So, what do you guys think, Mike? What thoughts?
I think it's delightful. It's a nice, smooth stout. I mean, it is definitely a stout. But it's great. So
Yeah, I dig it.
It's dark.
Very smooth. though.
I can now I'm
You
starting
can-
to see through it.
yeah,
It's
you can-
very red-ish.
If you look down through it, you can see it better. You can see.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Just needed some light with it.
Yeah. No, I like it. Great
Backswing.
offering. Great offering, Backswing.
Yes, nice work.
really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice.
If you're a big fan of Guinness, this would be the one to go to for sure.
It's not as smooth as Guinness. This is
It's not as
smooth,
thick.
but,
It's not as thick and heavy
Right,
as
it's a little-
Guinness.
yeah.
Guinness
Guinness
is a lot
has-
lighter.
It doesn't quite have the viscosity.
Yeah, they have the
Okay.
nitrous bubbles.
Right.
They use
I like
them.
the word viscosity.
Yeah.
You're welcome. SAT word.
How's the mouth feel?
Right?
It's good. So let's rehash the previous episode real quick on net neutrality because we did talk about this in June.
Yes.
And
Gosh, it seems so soon ago, but it was so long ago.
yeah. So this one's going to be a little more the Eli 5, the Explain It Like I'm 5. So we're gonna try and keep it as dumbed down as possible, so we aren't as
Yeah,
techie
we were
as
kind of
that.
throwing out the ISPs and OPSs and
PQRSTs and all that.
ZDDs.
Would you like to buy a vowel?
Abkadevki Jekyllmanopper Stubertsis.
Speaking of that, isn't Wheel of Fortune coming to town? Did I hear that?
Is that a traveling
Can
show?
I get on that?
I think I did hear
absolutely.
that.
No idea.
I think I did hear that. Oh, fun fact. We were talking about
Are you doing side tangents on side tangents?
Well, yeah, I do what I do. I was doing some research from the last episode, and we had mentioned who were we mentioning?
T1
Level
line.
3.
yeah.
Yes.
Level 3, and you were Grant was on Johnny on the spot, and he's all like, "Hey, it was from Omaha," and we were all like, "Okay." I did some research, checked it out. It used to be a Peter Kiewit and Sons. And they did an offshoot because they wanted to create their own communications for themselves. And they started up this program called Peter Kiewit the Diversified Group. And then that diversified group broke off and created Level 3.
Yeah.
So, yes, it
From
was
Omaha.
created in Omaha.
Well
There
done.
you go.
Well done, Grant.
Yeah,
Well
nice.
done.
Johnny on the spot answer there.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
For those listeners that haven't listened to the other episode, what is net neutrality? Let's talk a little bit about that and kind of keep it as dumbed down. I guess the basic definition would be treating all data the same. Is kind of the all data that's on the internet.
All data, all senders, all recipients. It's just neutral. It's like I think we equated it to the public park. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can be anybody, and you can have
still go to the
you
park.
can have the same access.
Mhm.
You don't pay different stuff,
Mhm.
and so that's how the net is now.
But we want to be a little careful because I think we muddied the water on the last episode, and it's not. This isn't net neutrality. Isn't about paying more for services and getting more services. That's not what's going to happen here. We're doing that now. That's your level of internet access that you have. You can pay more and have a better stream into your house, or pay less and get the basics.
True.
This is not what we're talking about.
Another question you posed was the T1 line. You know what the T1 line speed was? I checked that one out.
No, I don't remember.
1.54.
1.5. Yeah. that's
1.54
Megs.
megabytes per second.
Megs, yeah.
I'm running right now 66 megs per second.
right. Right, yeah.
Yep.
To me, the net neutrality is the principle, the guiding principle that all the information on the internet is treated equally by the companies that provide us with a connection to the internet.
So the Eli 5 version would be it's a fairness doctrine.
It is, yeah. It's that the
Keep it
companies
fair.
the companies that connect us to the internet, your Cox and Comcast and those, treat all the information on the internet the same. They don't control or restrict or do anything with with what you're accessing. They just give you a pipe to get on the internet, and then what's out on the internet is all the same. So the idea that we would repeal the principle of net neutrality would be repealing that principle of fairness and giving the internet companies, Cox and Comcast and those, giving them the ability to control and restrict and manipulate how and what you access on the internet.
Right. Yes. There's the it falls now under the Title II. So, and we had briefly mentioned those the last talk, the Title I versus Title II. Title I is your information services, which falls under the FTC, which is actually what the internet was under before the 2015 ruling by the Obama administration. The FTC, well, we'll get into that here in a minute, but the Title II, which is currently what the internet net neutrality rules are under, which is governed by the FCC, is common carrier. So if you think of things like trains or utilities, kind of like necessities,
water and power.
Yeah.
That's the go-to common carrier example is water and power.
Right.
And the example for net neutrality, sorry to cut you off, Brian,
you're fine.
is that, you know, from that fairness doctrine perspective, if I want electricity, right, it doesn't matter who I am or what I'm going to do with the electricity. I just pay a rate and I get electricity. I pay a rate, I get water.
Right.
And it should be that I pay a rate and I get the internet.
Right. And I think that a lot of people are looking at it as, well, they're saying that the internet is a right now, which it's starting to become that. I would, you know, yes, there are those people that don't even have access to clean water. I get it, but in the modern day society, internet has become how you access information, and it's everywhere. It's on your phone. It's on your laptop. It's on your computer at home. On your desktop. It's you know, on your tablets, on your Kindle. Even they've got them. It's everywhere. So it's becoming a way of life. So I don't know if it's going to move into the right thing, but going back to the FTC versus the FCC, the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, they've lost about 30% of their funding, and they can't make laws, which is what, if net neutrality is repealed, then the internet's going to fall under the FTC. So it's kind of a lesser dog, I should say. You got the big dog, the FCC, and then you've got the lesser dog, the FTC.
Right, so let's define those, right? So the FCC is the Federal Communications Commission.
Yes.
Which is what is currently governing
and
internet.
who governs that right now? The FCC?
The Ajit Pai?
Yes.
Well, he's the chairman.
Sorry, he's the chairman.
Yeah.
I was like, who governs it? America?
The guy.
Who watches the watchers.
Yeah. So there's 5 members. There's 5 commissioners of the Federal Communications Commission. The chairman is Ajit Pai. And then there's the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. And so what Brian was saying is that if currently the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is what's regulating and governing the internet service providers today, and the repeal of net neutrality would place the governance of internet service providers under the Federal Trade Commission, which is a completely separate entity type of thing. So
now, when we're talking about changing this, the internet's bigger than the good old U.S. of A.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Help me understand how that part plays into the U.S. changing our rules.
Well, if you think about it in terms of, like, last talk, we talked about North and South Korea. So South Korea is way ahead of even where we are, and North Korea is way behind, and they filter their internet. So
yeah, people there can't even see not even a fourth of the stuff that we see here.
Mm-hmm. So, and that could, if net neutrality is repealed, that could be a very real thing here. And if the internet in the United States does away with net neutrality, others will follow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
has anybody yet
done away with net neutrality?
Mm-hmm.
India just increased the net neutrality. They just made it more powerful, more strict laws on net neutrality. So they went the other way, which is good.
Awesome.
And again, what we are talking about is...
So what did they have before? Do you know?
India? I don't
Oh,
I don't know. But what we're talking about is actually government regulation, which... Who wants more government regulation? Not us. But in this particular case, yes, it's a good thing in this particular case.
Well, it's just like a free market. When the rules create a free market, good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of their counterpoint to doing away with net neutrality, is it makes the internet more fair, which is actually the name of the bill. The name of the bill that they've proposed that actually is going to kill net neutrality is called the Bill to Save Internet Fairness.
Right.
So I'm banking on they're probably banking on the fact that most people are I don't know, stupid. You know, they read that and go, "Oh, well, that's for net neutrality." No, it's against net neutrality.
Well, this bill is going to try to get passed on the 14th of December.
December 14th. So that's coming up real quick.
Was it scheduled to be voted upon sooner than that? Because I was seeing other articles where it was going to happen like during Thanksgiving.
So they had the time
Did it
of
get
comments.
pushed?
They had the time of comments where you could comment to the FCC, and that was the
Gotcha.
Go FCC yourself that we had plugged.
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
Yeah, so Ajit Pai and the FCC's sneaky plan, or allegedly sneaky plan, was that they announced the plan and they announced the vote and the whatever documents they put together. They announced that the day before Thanksgiving, and the suspicion is that they did that with the intent that it would fly under the radar with
Right.
most of America celebrating Thanksgiving.
That's why you
Not paying attention.
That's why you want the news that you want people to kind of fly under the radar. You put out on Friday.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were hoping it would fly under the radar, and then the actual vote takes place on the 15th, right?
14th.
14th, December 14th.
Put that out on Friday at 5. Perfect.
Oh, right, exactly.
So, yeah, where did I go? There I am. Again, that bill, not only does it do away with net neutrality rules, but it also states that ISPs will fall under the FTC and that the states cannot make their own net neutrality rules. So not only does it do away with it, period, but states can't even come back and say, no, we want some here. Nope, this does away with it all. And there's no
per state.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. No,
That's good.
Well, no, it's not good. They're doing away with net neutrality.
Well, yeah,
the bill.
that's bad.
Yeah.
So I wanna just for the ELI 5, which means explain it like I'm 5 years old for anyone who doesn't know what that means. Sorry, explain this like I'm 5 years old. So I want to make a delineation for two kind of definitions.
Sure.
We're talking about internet service providers, and the other thing that's important to talk about is content producers and content providers. Your internet service providers are the media companies. So your Time Warner, Cox, Comcast, Verizon, those companies that you pay a bill to that then give you your internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I pay for internet, right? The content providers are things like Google, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, all of the stuff that you go to on the internet. And I think it's important to point out that content providers, content producers and
Like
providers
Google.
like Google, Facebook, Netflix, anybody that is serving up information on the internet, they are all for net neutrality because they are the ones, and then by proxy, transitively, then us. But first, those content providers are the ones that are going to take the big hit.
Right.
If net neutrality is
Their
repealed.
traffic flow could go down because that person didn't pay into that, and so they're not on that tier, so
Right.
that gets taken off their list, and they don't go to their website anymore.
Right. So what this is actually saying is that your internet provider in Omaha, it's usually Cox, right? So Cox could send
Or CenturyLink.
could send a lovely letter to Netflix and say, "Oh, you'd like to stream, you'd like to send high definition video
4K
over the pipes and cable that we've put in place in Omaha, Nebraska." Well, we don't necessarily like high definition video because it takes up a lot of bandwidth. So if you'd like to do that, we're going to charge you extra, which means that now Netflix has to pay a higher fee for access to the infrastructure that serves up the internet. And now if Netflix is paying a higher fee, guess who else does?
Yeah.
We do, right?
Yeah, because they're gonna pass that on to the consumers.
Do we get a better product?
You'll get the same product that you get now, but now you have to pay for
Now you have to pay more
for
it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. That's not possible.
Yeah,
So something is going to go faster than it's going now, and something's going to go slower.
Correct. Okay, let's just say this. I'm a video on YouTube, and I don't want you to see that video on YouTube because it bashes my company. And so they pay YouTube to slow that rate down. Do you get where I'm going there? But even though all the other videos are running fast,
but
that one's going to run slow.
You're taking my argument to the nth degree. I'm saying, okay,
but that's a very real thing.
I pay for Netflix level 2 as opposed to Mike that pays for Netflix level 1. I get a higher quality thing. I might get HD or HD 9.9 or whatever.
But the point is today, everyone on the internet gets the same product,
right? Because you can see all content
because the information
in its rawest form.
Because the information on the internet is treated equally by the internet service provider.
Yeah.
If I was going to pay Netflix a different rate or a different fee, that's one thing. But if the internet service provider, if it's Cox or CenturyLink, telling Netflix that we're going to throttle your content unless you pay us money, I mean, it's practically extortion, right? We're going to put you out of business if we choose to. What if Cox decides, and this is to the nth degree, like you said, but what if Cox or CenturyLink said to Netflix, you know what? We're not going to serve your stuff, and we don't care how much money you want to give us. We're not going to let Netflix data run over our network.
Wow.
We're just not going to serve it up. Sorry, tough luck. We're putting you out of business.
Here's the irony of this, right? So I believe that I think I'm fair to say that this is supported by one side of the aisle more than the other side, right?
I've got a whole nother cup here for you. Okay,
gentlemen, am I correct that one side of the aisle supports this move more than the other side?
I think it's yeah.
Okay. So what's ironic about this is right now, because the rules are pretty freaking simple. I mean, we have to treat all data packets the same. That regulation is a regulation, but it actually makes it really simple. So therefore, I'm not saying there's only two people running net neutrality here, but it's a relatively quote unquote small government solution we have now.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, now we're going to make 9 bazillion rules that people are going to abuse, and therefore we're going to make more laws and more laws and more laws, and we're going to get more lobbyists, and we're going to get more paper, and we're going to get more confusion. And I mean, it's an interesting, and I'm not attacking that side. I'm right. Politically, I've been open on this. If I haven't, I'm right in the middle. You know, just give me an issue, give me a candidate, I'll get behind it. But that irony doesn't make any sense to me.
What I was going to say, sorry. Getting back to the beers, this brown ale, I think was the brown ale, actually.
It was so, like, it's as dark as a porter.
So, I mean, not human error, our human error, apparently.
Yeah, so it is a very dark brown ale. So it's almost like a porter because it's so dark. But then when you pour the stout, then you realize, oh no, that's
what that is.
Yep. So our fault.
It was damn good.
It was still, it was still good.
It was smooth.
So the next one, this is the Gingerbread Stout.
All right, moving on to the Gingerbread Stout, a 7.1 from our Backswing Brewing Company here. I like when I hear Backswing Brewing Company, I think of golf, and then when I see the can, I think of like golf pants, you know, like their golf shirt. You know,
probably what they intended.
What you going for?
Yep.
All right, clinky. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Cheers. My job is to hold this up to the camera so we can get a good look at the Drink Talk logo and the.
Oh yeah, you're Vanna White today.
Yeah. I had to tilt the camera down. He wasn't in the shot, and it was like the mysterious man, the phone-in caller, Grant.
Did he get it up there?
Yeah, now he's up there. So
okay.
So Grant makes a good point, and let's not sell short the fact that there are plenty of people who legitimately and sincerely support the repeal of net neutrality.
There are, yes,
and they have arguments, and they're not stupid, right? That is dismissive, right? If someone has a legitimate claim and a thought on why that it should be repealed, we should hear that out. there are a lot of points that we'll make later about lobbying and money and bribery and potential corruption and things
Isn't
like
that how you pass a bill? Bribery?
Yeah,
I thought that's how
yeah.
you did it.
And that's how a bill becomes a law.
Yeah.
Corruption and extortion.
I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill.
I'm just a bill. We could all sing that, I bet.
So
Schoolhouse Rock, right? That's what that
absolutely,
was?
it was.
There
yeah.
we go.
Honestly,
We hit it.
Yeah. Kind of shows our age a little bit. So who benefits then from a net neutrality repeal?
Well, okay, so I did my research, right, and I tried to find the most I don't know what to call it, sane. I don't want to be dismissive, right? I really don't.
The smartest.
The best argument?
Yeah, the best argument, the most legitimate argument, and that's that reclassifying the carrier, the ISPs from common carriers to
Information
services,
yeah.
information services, right? And reclassifying them under the FTC, having an organization, especially one that, I would call internet service providers in the United States an oligopoly. Another SAT word.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're welcome.
To Google that one.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking a 5-year-old talk.
Sorry. It means that there's, it's like a monopoly, but there's 5, right?
Gotcha.
There's like 5 major ISPs that run the world, and well, at least in the United States. And there's so much land in the United States where communities are only served by a single ISP,
Right.
a single internet service provider, which means you only have one option, right? That's a monopoly. They're localized monopolies, right?
Tangent.
Yeah.
Just like healthcare has become. Tangent back to this. This is way more interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I got something on healthcare, by the way. So
but
later.
because these huge organizations,
Pickles are good, by the way.
because these huge organizations, Cox, Comcast, CenturyLink, all the ones we've been naming off, are regulated currently by the FCC,
Which has teeth.
which has teeth, but it does not have the teeth of the FTC. It's much harder to sue an organization for monopoly when they're regulated by the FCC than it would be to do it if they're regulated by the FTC. The
Oh,
Federal
I see.
Trade Commission is the commission and the organization that set up antitrust laws in the first place. Those rules aren't necessarily in place when you're governed by the FCC. Right? Who's going around breaking up radio stations for monopoly? Right? They're not. But that's because they're not regulated by the FTC. They're regulated by the FCC.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. Didn't they do that with what is it? Is it Clear Channel? Didn't they
They might have.
get in trouble because they were getting so big?
Could be.
I think.
Well, I
Yeah.
know they came down on Howard Stern all the time.
Yeah. Well, that just has to do with the rules of what you can and cannot say.
Right.
You know, if
Right.
you
Which was part of the push for satellite, right?
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause-
absolutely.
Different regulators, different rules.
You know what's really interesting? That's actually a really interesting point, Britt, is that the FCC wants to regulate. They went after Howard Stern because of the content of his radio show, because he was vulgar and used swear words and all those other things. And that's their FCC's shtick, right? They tell you what you can put in a commercial and how much nudity you can have on cable television and how much profanity is okay
Right, right.
and what's acceptable. So they want to regulate content, right? With an internet service provider, that's exactly what we're saying. Don't regulate my content. I just want access to the internet, the whole internet. As long as that content is legal, then they should serve it up at the same rate for the same price and everything else.
Agreed.
But that's not their shtick, right? They want to regulate content.
Huh. I never even thought about it that way.
That's BS.
Neither did I until right now.
Boom.
Opening minds.
Well, you're welcome.
Yep. Back to the earlier question, we kind of skirted around a little bit. The who benefits if net neutrality repeals? It's not only ISPs, but it's the congressman.
Oh, yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Mike and I talked at church this morning, and he let me know those of you that are on Reddit. I'm a Redditor, but those of you that do, go ahead, Mike, with your story, because that was a good story.
Well, so for the past few days, so net neutrality has been a huge topic of interest on Reddit. If you're
Absolutely.
if you're ever on Reddit, you didn't see net neutrality, then you're on the wrong Reddit. So it's been all over the board.
You got one subreddit, and that's
Right, yeah, it's been all over the board. But one of the things the past few days is every state has their own subreddit, including Nebraska. So on the front page of Reddit, not
Really?
the subreddits.
Well, okay, pause. How many of you are on Reddit once a week or more?
I'm on Reddit every
Daily.
day.
Wow.
That's how
I'm
I get
missing out.
That's how I get a lot of
I'm
my
missing out too.
That's how I get a lot of my news. I don't.
Maybe once a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe once every other week.
Well, so every state has their own subreddit, and every state basically posted a picture, like a portrait photo of some of their senators, and they all put the same headline on their little article, their Reddit post, which said, "This is my senator. He sold me and my fellow Nebraskans to the telecom
or
lobby,
whoever,
or whoever, to the telecom lobby for this much money," and then it put the amount of money that the telecom lobby donated to that politician.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of senators, right? It just plastered the whole front page.
You get 5,000. You get 10,000. You get 9,000.
Couldn't be hundreds of senators. There's only 100 of them, right? So
Yeah.
and representatives.
Sure, but I mean, there's 100 senators, yeah. But they were pretty much all up there, and
for
then,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No,
some of them. There's a few that got hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our senators here in Nebraska got as low as $7,000,
and he just showed me one that was $1,000.
$1,000. So there are a few senators that were getting phone calls to their offices with things that with people saying, for example, here in Nebraska, one of our senators, he received $7,000 from the telecom lobby. Now, let's be fair, right? A little bit fair, and say just because a representative or a senator received money from the telecom lobby does not mean that they're bought and sold by the telecom lobby, right? It just means that they accepted a donation. However, so now some of these senators are getting phone calls to their offices with people saying things like, "I'll give you $8,000 to lobby the other way," since you were so willing to
if
go
you're
going to
be bought and paid for.
Yeah. Right. So, and that they don't appreciate that. So don't do that. Don't harass the senators.
But that's kind of our last line of defense right now.
But if they're going to take money in order to do that,
sure,
it's worth a try, I guess.
I did want to bring up a little bit of a topic because we kind of skirted over the hundreds of thousands of millions of comments to the FCC that we gave you that website, the Go FCC Yourself, back in June. So
that was Colbert, right?
Yeah, no, it
or John Oliver.
Yes, John Oliver,
An American.
last week tonight, which he has done 2 net neutrality episodes, and I would encourage you to go watch those. They're really good. But I did want to talk about Ajit Pai, the chairman of the FCC, the one that is trying to do away with net neutrality, was specifically asked about the comment section on all the comments that were given to the FCC, and basically he just ignored them. So the question is, does the FCC have a responsibility to go with the overwhelming majority and rule in that favor? And the simple answer is no. They can do whatever they want. They can open the comment section up, and every single person could say, "Yeah, this is terrible. This is horrible. Don't do it," and they can still say, "We're going to do it."
Yeah. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate the comment.
Yep.
I don't even know if they'd say appreciate the comment. They'd just stay quiet.
Well, they're politicians, so they're going to be somewhat political on that.
Right.
Have you guys actually watched videos of Ajit Pai?
I saw one, and it was like
he's kind of a nervous, kind of a goofy, twitchy guy.
He makes me feel like there's somebody telling him what to say.
I know. I'm trying not to. I'm really trying hard not to be a jerk. I have my own strong opinions on the matter, but
no, we want to know him. And he's just so I'm clear, he's an appointee of Mr. Trump, President Trump.
Correct.
And what's his history? And I want your opinion.
He was a lawyer for Verizon.
He might have a dog in the fight, or a few friends, or a little back money.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. I know. Yeah. I don't know that I know. I mean, nobody's suing me here for libel or slander, whatever this is. But
the truth is, it's so shady and so corrupt. Everyone, the entire I've never met a person who was in. I've never met a person personally who was in support of the repeal of net neutrality. Right? It's unanimous among people who use the internet that net neutrality is fundamental to a free and open
I don't want anything to change. Don't change what's already good.
It's practically freedom of speech that we're talking about. And that's not even practical. We are talking about freedom of speach here.
Oh, it is.
I don't want to go off on a crazy rant, but I'll get there, I promise.
Somebody will post something, and then, they could, turn that and make it so that people can't see it, essentially.
So yeah, let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's say it's repealed. What happens to the internet?
Okay. What happens? What actually happens?
And it's not going to be right away. I mean, they're going to trickle it in.
Probably not much, right, to begin with. However, this is my rant. Okay, can you guys just let me go?
Please,
go for it. We're all ears.
I might interject every once in a while just to bring it so your blood pressure doesn't go so high.
Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
We're going to give you 120. Okay. You got to do it in 120.
Here's my rant. My rant is this. The repeal of net neutrality is absolutely an attack on basically free speech in the First Amendment. And the fact that we have, I'm going down a weird tinfoil hat rabbit hole, so stick with me.
We don't do that here.
We do.
That. We have a president today who says, don't believe the free press. They're fake news. Only listen to what the government commissioned story is and what we have to say. And we all know that that's happened in history before. Okay, yeah. Well, the president has his approval ratings for a reason, that being one of them, right? But the fact of the matter is that now you're looking at the fact that the telecom lobby, like 5 major media organizations that control the majority of what people consume and what is influencing their perspective of reality on a day-to-day basis. People get their news from Reddit, Facebook, and other sources on the internet, right? And if now the media companies are lobbying the federal government and our senators to do what they want, and we have a president who has his opinions about how media and things should be shaped and the way the story should be told, we are giving up our free press. It's an attack on free press and the free speech. The idea that the government takes just a little bit more of a liberty. Just they only take an inch at a time, right? Nobody's ever gonna roll up in a tank and declare martial law. But if they keep taking an inch and an inch and an inch and an
eventually
you
do get to that.
Yeah, we've given up so much, and with all of the mass surveillance from the NSA, from the federal government's intrusions of privacy, and now the repeal of net neutrality, it gives media companies and the federal government the ability to control the story on any topic that they want. Right?
Propaganda.
It's a propaganda machine. If the telecom lobbyists and the media are working with the senators to control the story and suppress a website or suppress an uprising or suppress an article and throttle that connection down, hide a video, make it unavailable. And here's the big problem, right? That's super tinfoil hat, but it's already happened.
Can you talk a little bit about that article that you sent me about? You sent me like 20, which was great. Thank you, by the way. And some of them were actually Reddit from Reddit, so it was great. Talk to me a little bit about that. The one where it was the company that is owned by Verizon. It was Twitter.
Tumblr.
Tumblr. Thank you.
Tumblr.
Tumblr.
So Tumblr, for those who don't know, is a image hosting website, right? So people upload images, and then those images can then be kind of pulled into websites for hosting and other purposes.
I've never been on that site though.
I did for a little while.
Which one? Tumblr.
Yeah. Tumblr, right?
Is it on the rise?
It's a standard,
it's
right?
There.
Standard. Facebook. Is Facebook still on the rise? Is Twitter still on the rise?
They're
standard.
They're cash cows at this point,
Yeah.
But Tumblr is just a place where people can post pictures, right? Thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of millions of pictures, and then they use them in different ways. You can link to them, you can direct link to them, so then you can upload them into your website and different things.
Gotcha.
But a lot of the photos that you see on Reddit are not hosted on Reddit. They're hosted on Tumblr, and then they're linked
or
to
Imgur.
Gotcha.
And then they're linked to on Imgur or Tumblr, right? Tumblr got purchased by Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yahoo.
I heard about that.
Yahoo is owned by now Verizon, right? Who is one of the...
There was another shell company, but yes.
Yeah, so now that's one of the Power 5. Well, Tumblr is just like a lot of other websites where you can follow a hashtag, right? You can say, if somebody posts a picture and they do hashtag net neutrality, then give me an alert, right? I want to see that. I want to follow that. I want to do that. And so weirdly, some people discovered that when they said, I want to follow the hashtag net neutrality, at exactly 20 minutes after they clicked the button to follow net neutrality, they would unfollow net neutrality.
Automatically.
And it was a script that was running on Tumblr, probably because that it was instructed from higher up.
Yeah.
That is direct suppression of a movement, a civil movement. That is insane.
That's insane. Because in fact, there's a buddy out there watching this. His name's Ben, and I've gone back and forth with him.
Hi, Ben.
We have a president that loves Twitter,
right?
And I've always said that he weighs that we got to watch out because certain companies pick a name, Verizon, AT&T, Google, whoever. But any one of them could be manipulating us.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm not going to pick any one of those, but any one of them could be. And I said, well, Twitter,
They probably already are.
I said, Twitter, well, that's Twitter allows me to talk directly to, and I love it. I love it for talking directly to senators and other people. But dang, what you just told me, I'm now a little scared.
Yeah, you should,
right.
as you should be.
That's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just think of that on a grander scale. That's Tumblr where people post pictures. But what if they're suppressing civil movements? I mean, this is okay. I'm not a military.
And then geocaching or geofencing them, and
yeah, I'm not a military. I'm not a veteran or anything, but I know enough about cyber warfare. I've taken classes on it. I'm a cybersecurity guy. They use this tactic. The United States Department of Defense and counterintelligence uses the tactic of suppressing movements, whatever kind of civil uprising that they don't like. They will use the suppression of Facebook and social media to find the people who are kind of central to a network of people. Social media, that's what it's for, right? It's a network of people. They'll find those nucleus people who kind of facilitate that communication,
yep,
and they'll end it. They'll end an uprising socially before it gets up off the ground.
Just like Red Square. Damn.
And the idea that this could be happening in the United States makes me sick. It's fundamental to what the United States is, and it just
freedom.
Yeah,
it's
getting
taken away.
It's freedom that's being taken away. Yeah,
and they're doing it in other. I mean, we could go on a whole tangent on the amount of freedoms that are being taken away that we had 10 years ago or 20 years ago that we don't have today. I was just I took a flight to Boston. I had to go to Boston for some work a couple of weeks ago, and I was just reminiscing about remember the time when you could walk down to the terminal with your family to say goodbye as they got on the plane, and now we can't do that at all.
No.
So
thanks, Osama.
yeah. So there was something that I wanted to I did want to bring up the reality of where we are today.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going to take a deep breath on that one.
Net neutrality is going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It arguably if
it doesn't happen on the 14th,
it'll happen.
No,
it'll happen on the 14th. It's just what we will see. That's kind of where I was getting. What happens when it fails or falls, which it will, because we already have the FCC chairman has already come out and says he wants to dismantle it. The thing is, even if it didn't, even if we kept net neutrality, and the FCC was still regulating it, we have a chairman that doesn't want it. So how much regulation is there actually?
So you're saying what would happen? Here's what would happen. You ever seen the movie Antitrust?
Yeah.
Where they were creating a source code.
Tim Robbins.
They were going to give it away, and then he was just like, you know what? Open source code. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets to see it all over the place. If net neutrality happens, or gets taken away, apparently, somebody will come out with some open internet somewhere and just open source code.
Dark web.
Boom, here you go. That's what'll happen, I think.
I don't disagree with you, but that will be there'll be a movement for that.
For the dark web or for
but
it'll be a torrent you can download.
Well, no. But you can't download it.
Yep.
because your internet service provider is going to block that download.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is the problem, right? Is that
But then it'd pop up somewhere else, and they just keep moving it around.
Or the router to get the router to get to the special website.
even if you're using the Onion router, people don't go get the Onion router. You're asking for trouble. Even if you have an anonymizer and whatever you want, that stuff doesn't work because it is your internet service provider, right? It's your pathway to the internet. It's your bridge to get on the internet, right? If even if I'm using an anonymizer, it doesn't matter, right? Because they're just going to cut that. They're essentially going to cut that cable. It doesn't matter what data it is or where it's trying to go or how anonymous you are. Your internet service company just isn't going to let that traffic get there.
Mm-hmm.
It gets weirdly technical at that point, but just take my word for it.
And we're trying to keep it dumbed down a little bit.
Yeah,
Here.
it's just the bridge won't be there. You can't cross it because they're going to burn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's to say that you don't go out and plug into your satellite dish and somebody, I don't know, launches a satellite and then boom, now you're using that.
How expensive is that?
So
Holy
what
cow.
you're talking about?
Yeah, it can
I
happen.
feel
Who
like
knows?
something with satellite here. We just like now. Do we all need tinfoil? Like something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at some point we sound like the creepy guy, but it's normal.
Well, what you're talking about though is creating a kind of a second internet.
Yeah.
Which would be the only solution, but the feasibility of that is
It would cost a stupid amount of
So-
money.
virtually zero.
The Ben dude that's out there, and he's probably very comparable to
The
you.
arsonist was denied a
and
bank
that he's
loan.
he's in the IT world professionally and in leadership. Made that exact comment. Said GE's already in the process of building an internet for industrial internet. Who knows? Maybe Google builds the free one that we just all and then
yeah.
there's just money from that.
So
Yeah.
what if you set up like a VPN, but like you launched like a weather balloon and you could bounce off of that? That'd be a lot easier than a satellite, and you could. I mean, we're getting kind of technical in here.
Okay, so let's take the theoretical, right?
Mhm.
No matter what you're doing,
Mhm.
no matter how you're trying to get on to the internet,
Mhm.
you can't get onto the internet without an internet service provider. You still have to pay somebody $80 a month for an internet connection.
Right.
And whoever it is that you're paying that $80 to gets to control what you get on the internet.
Now,
Exactly.
Now I'm curious again. I'm the layman here, right?
You're no longer a neophyte.
I'm the hack and insurance finance guy that had a lot to say about cars driving themselves. But I'm just a user. Don't I have two? Don't I have two internet service providers?
I'm a user, baby.
One here
Why
and
don't
one
you kill me?
when I'm sitting at my landline or my home desktop or whatever.
Correct. So you have a residential broadband provider, probably Cox or CenturyLink, and then you have a cellular 4G LTE provider, probably Verizon or Sprint. Right?
Yep.
So there we go. We just named off all of the big telecom companies. Right?
What was the term? Let's. All right. The word of the day is.
You just named off the oligopoly.
There we go.
Oligopoly.
Oligopoly.
Love
Can we put text on there with somebody when we edit this?
Yes, oligopoly.
So moving on to our last, but maybe not final beer, but last
break.
Backswing Brewery. This is the
Over Par.
Over Par 10.4. I just kind of licked the lid of that, and it is amazing. By the way,
It's a double IPA.
double IPA.
If anybody
10.4.
wants to give theirs up, I already took a little.
I know. So cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, hoppy, very hoppy, right in the.
Mr. Britt, did you just put the beer down? You clinked, then
Yep.
did you tap?
That's how you do shots, really. But
Yeah, whatever, that's fine.
Is there a method to that, Matt? I'm just curious where you picked that up. I've seen my wife do that. I thought that was a girl thing.
for shots.
I hang out with a lot of bartenders, and so when we do the whole everybody cheers, a lot of bartenders hit the bar and then drink. I don't know what it all means.
If anybody out there wants to research, we're on a tangent. If anybody out there wants to research that, we'd love that as a comment.
And if anybody is on Amazon and wants to buy Grant a new cord for his phone, do that too.
Mike,
I've figured out one of the things I've played with. We're on about a 14-second delay here, so in about 3 more seconds, I'll hold it up. Here we go.
That's
No, the
horrible.
The audio is not delayed.
Oh,
The audio's on the same time.
I'm an idiot then.
The video and stuff is delayed, but the
I
audio
think
is
I
not.
have an extra cable in my car if you need a.
And
Even
wait,
just some electrical tape.
That's
you
not
know?
even
isn't this
safe.
fundamentally more of a podcast? So they're not going to have a clue how to.
So have you seen the commercial for the iPhone 5F?
no.
Or no,
No.
yeah, the iPhone 5F.
5F?
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. The only thing on it is Snake, and if you try to load any other programs, the phone will crash. If you want to take notes, write it down on a pad of paper because it doesn't have notes. And they got back to the bare minimals. For charging it, you have to use bare wires.
That's what I'm dealing with right here.
Yeah,
Thanks.
So yeah,
Thank you,
funny.
Doug B. is where I got this. I stole it. He was doing some construction work at my house. So Doug B. Thank you.
Douglas.
Funny or Die, put that on. So check out the 5F
Oddly enough,
for fail.
I took BASIC as a coding language, and that was the first thing they had you write code for was the game Snake.
Oh yeah.
So this Over Par double IPA.
So very malty IPA. This is
Yeah,
very
it is.
heavy, very
It's a
full
lot.
bodied.
It's thick too. It's. I had to go back to the beer.
The Ben guy. He's getting on me too. He's like, "You idiot!" The audio and visual are
Oh,
delayed together. I'm an idiot. All right, I've been drinking, Ben.
He's been showing me notes over here. He's all like, "Hey, you guys need more multiple cameras and switchers," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my department, and I know that, but we just don't have that yet. You know, it's
We'll
not
get
in
there.
the budget."
This might be his first drink talk. Let's recap. We are at drink talk number
40.
40.
40, yeah.
But hopefully going into the new season, right now all we have is Facebook Live right now. But and then I upload it to YouTube. There is a program out there that does both. It's called Wirecast, and I got it for $10. I was like, sweet, but you can only do one or the other. But you can upgrade to their Pro version for $250.
I'm in for a quarter.
Yeah, and you can
a quarter of the 250.
A quarter of the 250.
Oh,
you can do live to both YouTube and Facebook at the same exact time. So
I'm an investor.
so sometime I will.
My
I will
wife
get
will
that.
not, honey. If when
I'm
you
going to hold you
listen
to
this,
that. It's stuck to the tape.
it's on the tape. It's
He said a quarter, like 25 cents.
Oh yeah, there we go. My wife will never let me show up for more than about one a month of these things. Like
Right.
asking for 2 in a row. I said, honey, this is only my third one, and it's net neutrality again. I got to come back. And I said it was like 6 weeks ago, which you guys said it was 11 weeks ago, and she's like, it's like
It was
3.
June.
She thought it was 3 weeks in
No,
a
it
row.
was June.
Yeah, it was June. Yeah.
We love you, honey.
Yeah. And it was kind of hard to find that. That was like one of the first few episodes we actually started doing Facebook Live. And we were using your phone.
Oh, yeah.
And
Back
so
in the good old
I couldn't
days.
find it, so I threw it up on the TV through Google Play Music and casted it that way, and it sounded great. And then I was going through YouTube and I was like, "Oh, hey, I found the video. Cool." So I threw that up there and I started watching it, and I'm like, I'm just going to go back to the raw audio because it was a lot better. It sounded better. I
sure.
couldn't, yeah, the video was great with seeing everybody, but just the audio wasn't there because it was being pulled off of your phone.
Yeah, well,
at that time.
Yeah,
We've since got a better camera, and yes, I do
Processed
know,
audio.
Grant, we need to buy more cameras, and I need to have a switcher over here.
Don't tell Grant, it was Ben. Blame
when
Ben.
when we're talking, I'm over here pushing buttons. I go boop, boop, boop. You know, that
It's
side
not
of
even the
fence,
Ben
that
we
side of the
both
fence.
know, who's also in IT. I
Yeah.
shouted out to him. It's other Ben.
got other Ben.
Other Ben.
we've
This
got another
program
Ben.
has really been pieced together piece by piece. You know, we've got a couple decent microphones. We've got an awesome computer.
We upgrade.
We
from
upgrade
time to
when
time.
we can. You know, people got to know that we pay for our alcoholic drinks that we drink.
We have
You know,
no funding here.
We have no funding. This is all purely us. So hopefully, second season we can find some funding.
Maybe we'd do some Patreon or something like that.
We'll see what we do. You know, I don't mind doing a little 10-second snippet for some company out there during live broadcasts, like right in the middle of it. Like, this is brought to you by the
Adult-
Shelbin Company.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, yeah, like
Which
something.
would be fitting.
Yeah. Hence the Futurama behind
Right.
you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bender, man.
Bender's here.
It's Bender. I want his little chest to open up and then just be some airplane bottles in there.
Just
You know,
emergency.
but,
only.
yeah, emergency stash.
Yeah.
So
Back to the talk. Let's bring this train back on the tracks.
Sorry.
So to talk about what's going to happen, right? And if you go on Reddit and look at net neutrality, there's a lot of images out there that you can find that kind of are intended to be representative of what a potential outcome would be, other than the super ranty tinfoil hat, stripping away of the First Amendment, that thing, because that's relevant. direct impact, operational day-to-day, average Joe. You're talking about the way that your cable television works today. You go flipping through the guide, scrolling down, looking for channel, and you go, that looks cool, and you hit enter, and it says, sorry, you don't have that channel. Get used to that, because you'll be browsing around through the internet, and you're going to go,
you want to find out information about something, which you can right now, and you go, oh, there's the info. Now, they pass this. You go, I can't find that information. Sorry,
you go to a particular Wikipedia page, and it says, "Sorry, your internet package doesn't include this page. If you'd like access to this Wikipedia, you can buy the Wikipedia package for an additional $2 to your internet bill."
That's very real. That's very real.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. You'd like access to ESPN.com? You'll have to buy the sports package for your internet service, right? So that you'll be getting bundles. You'll get offers for bundles. Hey, you want social media? You're going to have to buy the social media package. You want streaming video like Netflix and Hulu? You're going to have to buy the streaming video package, probably for an additional $29.
Speaking of packages and stuff like that, so I've got Cox Cable as an internet provider, and I got in when they had this smoking deal going on. For $72, I get 50 meg internet, which is actually 60 meg internet, and then I get their basic channels, 1 through 32 or 35 or something like that. So I was all like, cool, I don't really need the cable, so let's just do the internet. And they're like, it's going to be $72. I'm like, oh, so either way, I'm like, that's fine. Give me a cable box. I'll throw it up there. If for some reason my satellite dish goes out because I got DirecTV, cool, I'll switch to that. So the other day, my bill went up, and the first bill I didn't really pay attention to. I was like, oh, well, whatever. Maybe the wife got on there and bought a movie or something. I don't know. Didn't pay too much attention to it, and then it went up again, and I'm like, okay, I need to see what's going on here.
Wait, let me just be clear. It went up. Didn't go back down to what you expected, or it went up twice?
It went up twice. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm like, what's going on? Let's figure this out. So come to find out, they just the package had stopped. Like, okay, cool, package has stopped, and then they added something on without me telling them to add it on. But then I was like, hey, I see that I have HBO. When did I sign up for that? And they're like, you've always had HBO. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know that I had that stuff. So I complained, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just give the box back. I just want the internet. That's all I want. Don't worry about it. He's all like, well,
this is a really long story.
I know. Needless to say, $72 is my bill now, and I still have everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense.
It's because
I tried to give the stuff back.
It's because telecommunications companies like that you can look it up. They have the absolute worst customer service. They are the most hated.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're the most hated companies in the country.
And of all the communications companies, Comcast has been voted numerous times
the worst company in America.
Well, thankfully, we're broadcasting this from Nebraska, which nobody out there in the interweb knows. But
yeah, they do.
Well,
they do now.
They do now.
No.
Go
you
Scott
mentioned it actually on the last Net Neutrality one.
Scott Frost.
The Frost is coming.
Frost.
Wait, no, he already came.
Backswing.
He's here now.
We're going to show Backswing here in a second, but there's a particular internet service provider around here that is saying as long as your plan doesn't change, your rate will never change the rest of your life.
Right.
Ha.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ha.
Yep.
BS.
Right. And so, but then
that's the thing.
You're way close to the camera on that one, buddy.
But then they're going to force you to change your plan, right?
There you go. That's probably better.
So the plan today isn't going to include like 4K video. Like you can't do that.
Right. Or you Google or Twitter or unless you pay the $2 upcharge.
Right.
And that'll get you 30 days. And I mean, it's like clicking too many times on a particular newspaper. It's like, oh, you got to the 6th, but you can't get educated
That's
anymore.
The most frustrating thing.
Just buy a damn paper.
Can we call them out? Come on,
no, stop it. Stop it. Buy a paper, get online access. I don't care about any of them. They do need revenue. They need revenue.
That's fair.
In order to stay a paper,
and marketing or advertising revenue is part of it. But you got to. You used to get the paper delivered. You didn't have an option 10 years ago. So anyway, and there's probably a parallel here, right? There really probably is a parallel in that conversation, in this conversation, that the people that are advocating for what is the opposite of net neutrality?
The repeal of net neutrality.
No, I need a better hook.
No internet at all.
No,
the anti-Netflix law.
Prioritized internet. Fair?
The argument from the internet service providers is that it's an unfair use of the infrastructure that they've provided. If companies like if I'm speaking with my telecom company hat on, it's if companies like Netflix and Hulu and Facebook and Google want to use the infrastructure that we've built and created, then they should pay us for it, right? As opposed to just having consumers paying for the access to the internet, right? They want to get paid from both the consumer and the content provider.
More revenue.
Right, it's more revenue, right? And that's kind of the whole point. But then that charge goes back to the content provider, which then comes back to us, so then we're getting charged twice, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For me, it's more of the virtual censorship that causes the issue for me. I understand their argument, right? They say it's unfair, but the counter argument from this guy, without I'm an ISP hat on, is you built the infrastructure. There's a flat rate to maintain and support it. Whoever's throwing data across it doesn't really have an impact. Data caps are a lie. We can go down a weird technical path there. I mean, yes, there's a bandwidth limitation. We're not really close to it, right? With the fiber and the upgrades to infrastructure and the things that are happening. I mean, saying that people streaming too much high definition video is going to like cap out and we're going to like run out of internet is no. Come on.
My concern with it is
we just go back to 1K, 1.453.
Right now, between my internet, TV, and cell phone, I'm $400 a month, if that. Maybe $350 or so, but roughly $400.
What?
Yeah, between my wife's phone, my phone, my cable company,
gotcha.
And my internet provider.
Yes.
So those four things, or three things, whatever: cell phone, internet, and TV.
Right.
Yeah, it's $400 out of my pocket every month.
Yep.
It's like, ugh. And now you want to cut it up and maybe potentially charge me more.
Here's something let's do a little exercise.
Or maybe charge me less. I don't know. Maybe you divvied up. I'm like, hey, I don't use
maybe,
that.
Maybe
so
you can ride the JetBlue of internet.
Yeah, I don't use that.
Maybe.
So this is the one I want right here. Maybe they'll catalyst it that way.
Potentially, yeah.
Here's what a little game I want to play real quick. The little devil's advocate. So let's when net neutrality is repealed, because it will be repealed.
That's exactly what I'm hearing.
Yep.
It will
be. What do you think is going to happen with the public outcry to the ISPs? Is that going to affect anything? I mean, there's going to be huge outcry.
You say that.
Well, not at first, no, because they're just going to roll it out slowly, and then bit by bit,
guys,
inch by inch.
This beer is really good.
It is really good.
Where? Okay, I got to rewind to
Lincoln. It's out of Lincoln, Backswing Brewing Company.
Nice.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting we're in Omaha. It's 60 miles away. Right now, you say Lincoln, I'm like, I got to compete with them.
It took me an hour and 5 minutes to drive there.
Yeah.
From my house.
But then we say Iowa, and now we're on the same side. Now it's like, this is the best bleeping beer, which I bleeped myself.
That's very good.
Self-bleeped. Excellent.
This is the best effing beer. This is really good. Every single one of these has been amazing. Backswing, kudos.
Yeah, because I'm not a huge dark beer person.
Well, we are in fall, and fall is darker beer territory. So
I mean, this is as dark as I'll get, right?
And this is an IPA. That's a very amber looking.
Because I'm an IPA kind of guy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those last two. The first two, I mean, which were
the brown and the
gingerbread stout and the
brown ale.
Yeah. Which we thought they got it mixed up, but they didn't.
It was so dark for brown ale.
Dark.
It was really dark for brown ale.
Backswing, you could send us 2 more crowlers of the gingerbread. We'd make sure you got some love for that.
Their ad people are listening today, so
Bingo. I didn't know that. I am but a guest.
So I did when I was there.
A quarter investor,
Yeah.
but a guest.
I did have a little back and forth with some people from Backswing because I did post on social media, that I was there and all that. So the people that were running their social media accounts, we had a little back and forth. So I told them when we would be live, and they're either A, going to watch tonight, or B, they're going to listen to it when it comes out.
If you're live and you work for Backswing, would you just say hey on the thing, and then we'll connect?
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that will have any effect? Back to our.
Can I want to digress just 1 second.
No.
Right. We didn't acknowledge the fact we all are in agreement. We all concur that it's essentially a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
FCC chairman
Everything that
Ajit
they
Pai,
have the votes for it.
FCC chairman Ajit
I thought
Pai.
you said he was a CEO of Verizon.
He was.
I know you
was.
didn't. But
No,
He
was a lawyer.
He was former general counsel for Verizon.
Joke.
Yeah, gross. But it is essentially a foregone conclusion. One way or another, net neutrality is getting repealed. Interestingly, I wanted to point this out, and not that I want to pick another fight, but there are 5 members of the commission on the FCC. Right, there's 5 commissioners, and Ajit Pai is the chairman, and there are 3 men and 2 women. The 3 men are Republican, the 2 women are Democrat, and so the vote, weirdly, is 3-2 in favor of the repeal of net neutrality, and you can guess who's voting for what.
Mm-hmm.
One of the women, and I can't remember which one, I'd have to tell you, has actually put out an article, an op-ed in the LA Times saying, "I'm a commissioner for the FCC. Please stop us from repealing net neutrality."
I saw that. So is there okay? Let's skip the the public outcry. Will it have any effect? And let's go into is there anything that we can do at this point right now?
There is a petition out there that you can sign.
Mm-hmm. And what does the petition do?
Gets people out there saying, "Hey, I'm a person that says, hey, I don't want
FCC's
this."
already not listening
The
to
cynic
comments.
says nothing.
Yeah, the FCC's already not listening to comments. So what does a petition do? Petition's a comment. I mean, they're already not.
Okay. So there are multiple petitions all over the place, right? The whole internet using world is opposed to the repeal of net neutrality, and so there's petitions everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that potentially one of the most effective ones would be on WeThePeople.com, which was, if you're not familiar, was a website that was created by the Obama administration, where if you created a petition and it got a certain number of signatures,
It would go before.
then it required a response from the White House.
Is it 170,000 signatures?
100,000.
100,000. Thank you.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
But that's the extent of the requirement. It requires a response. Their response can be pound sand,
Right.
But
It's a response.
it does require a response. So that one's out there, and the petition that was on WeThePeople.com. It's not WeThePeople.com. It's WeThePeople something else. Go find it.
Gov.
Most likely.
Is there anything
I'll
that
confirm that in a second.
Is there anything that our senators and representatives can do at this point?
If you want to reach out to your senators and senators, reach out to your sensitives.
Don't call them.
Oops.
Fax them.
Queen Amidala.
Actually, I'm going to give
He
you.
said this in the last episode. You called,
Right.
or you didn't call. You sent an email.
I
No
emailed,
response.
yeah.
He's all like, send a fax or call them.
Right.
So there is a website. I'm going to plug another website this episode. We did the Go FCC Yourself last episode. So this episode, we are going to do battleforthenet.com. That will actually get you in touch with your representatives.
However, battleforthenet.com is great. There's a lot of other websites out there, and I don't know how I feel about this. There's a lot of websites where you can put in your information, your name, address, phone number, which tells them what districts you're in, and it will robocall your representatives on your behalf.
Which Ajit Pai would say is their fake accounts and all that.
Which is great, but I don't know about the effectiveness
Not
of
going to
that.
do
Right, it's
Stuff.
not
Not
going to
gonna do
be
stuff.
stuff.
It's not going to be that effective. So, if you can get in contact, however you do it, with your senators and representatives, that I hate to be this negative, but if your representatives our party line representatives. Their decision's made. You're not going to change it. I did get a response from Don Bacon.
I've met Don.
Yeah, great guy, and I
Great
like
guy,
him.
admire him a lot.
And I love bacon.
And his response was basically, I support the repeal of net neutrality, pound sand. And he has his position. It's tough to I mean,
but we can, and I didn't mean my throw up. Well, I didn't throw up on the mic, so my throw up sound effect to indicate that I want to be respectful of Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon, I respectfully disagree with this.
I think most people do.
Really, it is. I mean, and I think even of his party, most people disagree with this. Maybe the money doesn't, but man, but I will say one of our elected officials here in the great state of Nebraska, I believe, just believing, that he has higher aspirations, and it does actually matter when you take the time and write it out or think it out or fax it out. The robo-dial thing is just obnoxious and whatever else. But
I am a robot.
But when you actually write a letter and put your signature on blue ink or whatever, or the emails are easier to disregard, the phone calls are a little tougher. Show up. I know
they
this
can't
is
ignore
amazing.
you.
They can't ignore you, and they actually do kind of care. Like I'm probably, I think it's fair to say, of these four friends that I'm probably the most politically active. That I just show up at the most of these. Not that you guys don't care, but I get a kick out of this crap. And there's people on both sides of the aisle and right in the middle of the aisle or planet Mars sometimes, and some of them are on Pluto. But they care and they want they crave human connection, and they actually crave people who are not yes people. Because remember back to the dollars, like they'll take them. They're not going to look them away, right? Because they need them to get elected. But they really do care about my grandma in Paducah, Nebraska, or Iowa, or Kentucky.
Paducah.
I don't think Paducah is a city in Nebraska. If
You're
somebody
thinking
finds
of
it.
Padunkadunk.
You put the accent on the wrong syllable. It's podunk. It's podunk.
Tonka. There's a real one for you. But if my grandma, my 91-year-old grandma, who I love to the end of the world, showed up at any one of our senator or representatives' town hall and said, I care because I surf the net and I do FaceTime with my kids and grandkids and Skype, and if you limited Skype and I got crappy stuff, that I sincerely believe, even at 30-something, late 30-something, that they actually would care.
I do have a little bit of a story. I mean, we kind of got off on a little bit of tangent.
Let's get on to the next beer first, and then our last and final beer.
Okay.
And then we'll go off to the next one. We are going to step away from the Backswing, even though we love you.
Yeah,
they're good people.
We just ran out of what I bought.
We just ran out of the 3 crowlers that Brian bought, which I'm sure you got a discount when you buy 3, right?
Yes? I did not, and I'm fine with paying full price. I mean, let's support the local guys.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the next one, which is a rarity, which you can barely find anywhere right now because Stone Brewing Company is so fantastic. This is Stone Enjoy By. And all Stone Enjoy Bys are amazing. Stone had a Enjoy By 4th of July. They had one Enjoy By Valentine's Day. They had one Enjoy By Halloween. They had one Enjoy By Thanksgiving. This one's Enjoy By
December 25th.
Enjoy By Christmas. So they kind of go to the holidays and try to bring these unfiltered IPAs out onto the market.
Which we should state, Stone pretty much has the market on IPAs.
Oh yeah,
that they do IPAs very well.
I've only had one non-good one from them, and they did an Enjoy By Valentine's Day, and it was like a red IPA, and it was.
Which I like reds.
I mean, I like reds too, but it just wasn't what I was looking for on Valentine's Day,
well, and this
or before Valentine's Day. So
is this a double IPA?
No, this is just a single IPA, but it is a 9.4. So
I was gonna say it
could be a double.
It's pretty hoppy.
But what I like about this is the package that it comes in. The package is like a little.
He said package.
Yeah, I did. The little box that you get it in, it's like a little tiny present. So
That makes for a good gift to clients.
Yeah,
and,
right. Like, here's a little present for you. It's already wrapped. It's a bunch of beer, and it's awesome. So
Delightful.
this is the Enjoy by 925 Unfiltered IPA 9.4. Gentlemen,
It's very good.
Cheers.
Do you need a koozie for that?
There's a cup. There's a cup in front of him. He's
I know
just not
there
using
is,
it.
and that was going to actually lead to my next question.
It's very
Gentlemen, when should you? And I still
want to do my story about Don Bacon.
A little
real quick.
lemon lime in here.
I want to stay on beer for like.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's stay on the beer since we're
Just
on
quickly.
Yeah, you're fine.
This is an opinion.
The can's got little Christmas trees on it and stuff.
When should we drink it directly from the can? When should we not?
So I would never drink it directly from the can.
Yeah. When you pour it out, when you get the suds, the more suds, the better. Because
it opens up the aroma.
Yeah, you're bringing out the flavor. That's what that's all
the
about.
The aroma and the flavor.
When people are like,
so tailgate only.
When they say, there's a lot of head on that beer that you just poured me. That's okay. The head on that beer is okay because it's bringing out the flavor in it.
The only cans that I would ever drink from are the ones from
Coors Light,
Nebraska Brewing Company.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say if you're drinking low calorie American lagers, then you're kind of splitting hairs.
I like Brian's answer better because fill in the blanks for those that don't know.
So going back to the Bud Light and all that, you don't need to let those open up. But for me, like the Nebraska Brewing Company, they have the pull tab on it actually pulls the entire top of the can off, and it turns it into a glass,
which is kind of cool.
Which is pretty flippin' amazing. I mean, we've drank beers from all over the world. I'm pretty confident the four of us. That's unique. How did they take the pop can, the beer can, and they
reinvented it?
Well,
there's a different and better way to do
that.
This.
That wasn't them. There are states that require that.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. So
and there are bars that require.
Give me one out of curiosity.
I don't know.
Hey, Brett, when you re-listen to this,
go back here.
Go back and research.
So I've got a quick story on Don Bacon. When I met Don Bacon,
I wish we had bacon right now.
Bacon. I can't believe we don't. I'm here 2 weeks.
Hey,
in a
we
row.
got pickles, we got chips, we got my peanuts on the floor. Here.
Is one of us has a significant other that might be in this house?
Well, didn't we have bacon when you were on? Yeah, when you were on, we had bacon.
Man.
And she puts the little maple glaze on there.
She does that on top.
That's amazing.
We put actual maple syrup on
all right,
the maple
so
bacon.
a tangent on a tangent. Some of us go to the same institution to worship somebody, and there were good laughs there.
How very internet appropriate.
Whatever. We fry turkeys. We fry like 60, 70 turkeys.
I wanted to make it. I'm sorry.
OMG.
For
those of you that are out there, you can support this in a lot of different ways. But the hostess with the mostess on that, Lisa. Oh, she takes the, I'm going to shout them out, Hy-Vee, regular roll, cinnamon rolls you get in like whatever. And then she does like a stick of butter. And I don't remember. It's similar to this maple glaze on this bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
They do a spread out there. It's really cool.
Man.
Now we're off on bacon.
That's real life.
Back to Don.
Back to Don Bacon. So we had a little changing of the guard out at the VFW, and so I was there for that.
Veterans of foreign wars.
Yes. So I was out there for that, and for me, they don't have a good beer selection there. It's like Bud Light and Coors Light, and they might have.
Were you enlisted or were you?
I was enlisted. But they do have a good whiskey selection. So I was like, hey,
good.
I'll take a
Patriot.
yeah, they did have Patriot.
You can't go
bourbon.
one way, you go the other.
Yeah. So I did some Patriot bourbon with like 2 ice cubes, and I'm walking around with that, and everybody there has like Bud Light in a glass. And Don walks up to me, he's like, I just gotta say, man, like I noticed you walking around with a almost neat bourbon or whiskey, and I appreciate that. And so that was my meeting with Don Bacon.
Nice.
So
I was on a conference call earlier where I was told I was memorable by somebody who never had met me.
Yeah.
Somebody else on the call knew me. I think you now have net neutrality influence with Don Bacon because you drank the bourbon neat.
Hey,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
I have here. I won't read the whole thing, but I have the letter from Don Bacon that is the response.
they put it on Reddit. It's on
Please
Reddit.
read it.
It's long.
It's relatively
Okay,
long.
please read the condensed version.
I'll read the relative portions.
The Cliff Notes.
Thanks for emailing me, etc., etc. You may know, okay, this is actually relevant. As you may know, net neutrality is the idea that all lawful content on the internet should be treated the same way by internet service providers. At the heart of the debate over net neutrality is whether ISPs should be required to provide service to everyone at the same speeds for no additional cost regardless of the bandwidth used, or whether it is permissible for the ISP to charge higher access fees to companies that use large amounts of limited internet bandwidth. The FCC is the agency that is the regulatory authority over the internet and net neutrality. Okay, this is important. On February,
we're all listening.
He already put me to sleep.
On February 26, 2015, the FCC voted 3-2 of the 5 to adopt new open internet rules that treat broadband like a utility. That's that Title II.
That was under the Obama.
That was the Obama proposal, okay? Specifically, ISPs will be prevented from blocking or degrading internet traffic and will not be permitted to charge companies for internet fast lanes. As a firm advocate for innovation and free market reform, I strongly support FCC Chairman Ajit Pai's proposal to discontinue the previous administration's Title II regulations pertaining to net neutrality. This rollback will help correct prior reductions in infrastructure investment and broadband deployment among our nation's 12 largest internet service providers. Domestic broadband capital expenditures only increased by 5.6%. Additionally, Title II has hindered small providers from getting financing and has made it difficult to close the digital divide. I agree with the principles of an open internet, but not with the means that the past administration used to achieve it. If we want to implement rules or regulations, they should go through the legislative branch. I welcome the opportunity to host hearings, yada, 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 yada.
I'm raising my hands.
So,
what,
yes.
do you have that in a PDF? What do you have that in?
It's on Reddit.
It's on Reddit.
I know. Can you post it up here?
Yeah.
All right,
do that.
that'd be helpful because then I personally will take this and contact him and ask my question from earlier. How does this more complex regulation or deregulation or whatever we want to call this, but it is more complex than a simple rule that says treat all data packets equally. How does that equal smaller government, Mr. R?
So, one of the things that he mentioned in there that they like to tout is if net neutrality goes away, then the expenditures on infrastructure increase because people are more free to do that. If it's regulated, they don't spend the money on infrastructure, which if you actually look at the dollars and cents of it, they do. Like, it's been regulated since 2015, and the expenditures on infrastructure has gone up. So that, to me, is already debunked.
You want to start an internet-based company. Let's just say you want to do that.
I'll be doing that tomorrow.
It'll be so much harder with net neutrality gone.
We're an internet-based company.
100%.
Right. It's just because they'll limit the traffic to you because you're just not paying into their
this directly
regime.
Let's say podcasts fall under the rule that whoever.
Oh, you want to do podcasts? Well, that's tier 3.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep.
If you don't have tier 3, then you just can't do podcasts.
Yeah. Here's your the access or the media hosting site that you're paying X amount of dollars to. Yeah, that's going to double now because you're putting up this amount of
because that's more.
And if I'm storing more information, I would expect to like there are tiers, like the tier we're on.
Yeah, my cloud's already $2.99 a month.
Yeah,
like,
it's not.
Do now?
Yeah, it's not that bad for the media hosting site that we're doing, but like there are times where I have to upgrade because we use more than the storage that we paid for, so I have to upgrade. But this is going to be. They'll charge those media hosting sites a lot more. Like, oh, this bandwidth is a lot more. So,
gentlemen, we're at 83 minutes.
Yeah,
what do we
I know.
need to cover in the next 7?
We got like 7 minutes. I wanted to talk about what can we do now at this point beyond the backlash that's going to happen when this does when net neutrality fails because it will. They're going to repeal it.
Well, so here's my take, and I want to really listen to you guys because you all understand that a lot more. But anytime you screw with this stuff, somebody wins and somebody loses.
Yeah.
And the fact
I think everyone's going to lose once this passes.
See, that's the interesting one.
But there's things things we can do.
Let's call them out.
The only people that are going to win is Verizon and
Congressman.
Cox Cable.
Is Congressman Don Bacon going to win or lose because of this? Because he gets $7,000.
Yeah, no, that's not a big win.
That was
it's not a big win.
That was Ben's ass.
No, that was
Ben Sass.
Senator Sass.
Yeah,
to you.
Ben Sass got
Also
$7,000.
from Fremont, Nebraska.
Yep.
Oh, that's where that's
I can tell
that's
you who I
Grant's
was here in a second.
hometown. But,
Yep.
All right. Do what you need to do.
and the Ben guy who we referenced earlier about 35 minutes ago, he might have also come into me about Ben Sass.
So-
but my point is this, and then I'll get off. Somebody wins and somebody loses. The faster you adapt to the new market, bingo.
Yeah.
My point is this: your cell phone, your computer, my cell phone, Brian's cell phone, Mike's computer, us streaming, we're all on the same internet right now, and it could get throttled.
You're okay. So you're talking more what you pay for,
Right.
like your bandwidth to the internet,
Right.
Which that has no bearing on what we're talking about. You pay for X amount of dollars to the internet,
but something will get throttled within all of this.
What could get throttled is that when the net neutrality
Our
laws
show could get throttled.
Absolutely, or all podcasts in general
Yeah.
could get throttled. So that's a very real possibility. One of the things that we can do, I did want to throw this out there a little bit. There is going to be a protest at Verizon on December 7th.
right.
Which is where? Physically where?
Just any Verizon. It's
Any Verizon store. Well, that's noteworthy though because it should be nationwide.
When is December 7th?
Absolutely,
Is that a Saturday?
Today is December 3rd, and it is
So
a
it'll be a
Sunday.
Saturday?
4 days away.
Sunday?
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday?
Yeah.
Is that Thursday?
Yeah.
yeah.
Time to take up some time off work.
Well, or just go there after work.
that works
Stop
too.
by your local Verizon store and just throw up a sign that says,
Bring your signs.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
They said
But-
my bill will be X amount, and then it's $30 more than X amount.
because I mean, we've done a lot of tie-ins. We've done some tinfoil hat stuff here, but the Ajit Pai, he was a lawyer for Verizon and is
Verizon.
now the chairman of the FCC. So,
Funny how that works.
I know. Another thing that we can do, though, like when net neutrality fails and goes away and it's under the FTC rule, I guess we could focus on what the FTC can do and try and support them and maybe bolster what they can do.
But no one controls them.
The FTC?
Oh, FTC. I thought you said FCC.
The FCC is Ajit Pai.
Yes.
So when this falls under the FTC.
All right, let's just pause and realize the guy's last name is Pi. Like, are we talking Village Inn here?
PAI.
I don't care. It sounds like PIE.
3.14.
And that ain't, I'm trying not to be
As long as we're-
it's comical. Come on, somebody. Give
Right.
me me an apple.
We can pick on Ben Sass's name. We
Yeah,
can pick
there
on
we go. We can
Ajit
pick
Pai's.
Ajit Pai.
Yeah, 3.14.
1592654. Well, it's
Hey,
all.
hey.
Hey, protest on March 14th.
Oh,
Yeah, 3.14. Yeah, so just make no mistake about it. It is going to go down on December 14th.
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
There is very little
the likelihood that a
barring
protest,
a Hail Mary.
right?
it's not-
the likelihood that a nationwide protest at Verizon stores on December 7th is going to sway
No.
the three voting members of
So-
the FCC.
So this is super dorky.
unless they all
This-
took
this
their cell
whole-
phones
this
from
whole talk
Verizon,
is-
threw them on the ground, and walked away from that company, and no one used their phone
Well,
anymore.
this
Right.
talk will
No more.
This talk will influence people, the populace, if you share it and comment and like, and that's true. I mean, that'll get it visibility. But
I do want to mention that our last net neutrality talk is our most downloaded episode now.
dang,
Ooh,
11
Like
people.
no-
How many people downloaded?
over 200.
Dang,
So-
we're having fun drinking
Yeah,
beer, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's influence. I mean, I'm dead serious. That's
Well, everybody's researching it right now, so we come
Right.
up in the research bar.
good.
Ben Sass, the post on Reddit that says this is my senator and he sold me and my fellow Nebraskans out for, and I already talked about the context of that, right? Just because a senator received a donation to their
that does
campaign
not mean it's
does
not a correlation.
necessarily mean they're bought and sold.
Yeah.
But the number here is 31,800 for Ben.
What was it again?
31,800.
I thought it was 7.
That's
Was it?
that's done. Bacon.
Oh, it was Don.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I retract my earlier statement.
All right, so just repeat that for the slow dude. Say those two stats again.
So the number that's posted on Reddit, right? For whatever that's worth, the
Okay.
number that's posted on Reddit, the headline on the Reddit post says, "This is my Senator Ben Sass. He sold me and my fellow Nebraskans out to the telecom lobby for $31,800."
And Don Bacon got 7.
Yeah. But that's that.
It's cheaper to win honestly, it's cheaper to win a congressional, but
Right.
It's
I like it. I like where this is going.
We're right an hour
But
and a half
to be
right
fair,
now.
the
to
next
be fair,
time
Brian.
Ben is
the Nebraska senators' numbers were low.
Absolutely.
I mean, and Ben's an influential senator. I mean, let's be clear. So for him to get that low of a number when other senators were receiving hundreds of thousands, six figures, it maybe that says something, maybe not.
No, it doesn't say anything. The only thing that
He's
says
cheap.
is that no, it doesn't.
No,
it
don't
says,
say that.
It says Nebraska's small.
Right, I
That too.
probably agree.
Two
with that.
votes.
What's the saying? Correlation doesn't mean causation.
Right.
Well, Britt, all senators, all states get 2 votes.
Is it? I thought California.
Okay,
had one.
we're going to enter the government 101 portion of the podcast.
Can we go?
Oh, this is the 5-year-old podcast,
Hey,
isn't it?
Hey, Brian, you're on the nuts on this. I don't know on the point on this.
I'm more of a bolt.
What are the next topics?
Like for next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, well, we kind of talked about one today.
Yeah, we so there's this we do some serious topics here, so every once in a while we just want to throw in like the tinfoil hat fun one to do. Some would say conspiracy, Britt likes to say theory kind of thing. So the one we're looking at right now is the Baltic Sea anomaly. Have you even heard of it?
Do fill me in for those that are still watching
So-
this or will find this.
Are you a Google Earther?
Yeah, I love Google Earth.
Okay, so the satellite images and you look down and all that. Well, somebody found
Yeah, I have a friend that works at a social media marketing company, and he like chased him, and so he's in like 14 pictures in it.
Oh, awesome.
But anyway, I digress.
So somebody found in the Baltic Sea this anomaly in the Baltic Sea on the seabed, and if you look at it from the top down, it looks exactly like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's fun.
But in the same right, I don't know if we could have a full episode on that one. So there's also this satellite that's been orbiting the Earth that is an alien satellite that has been orbiting the Earth for 14,000 years. I don't know. So some ridiculous amount of time, which it's up there somewhere rotating around the Earth.
Yep.
So I don't even know who this is, but I'm listening to one of the AM stations, and there's this guy going off about aliens and whatever. So next week's the alien show.
It could be. It could
potentially.
We were talking about it. We just brought it up.
Like I said, sometimes we like to do the tinfoil hat.
Right when
versions.
Brian showed up at 9 o'clock, we were like, "Hey, he's like, I want to talk about this," and I'm like, "Oh, I was actually looking at that, and we should do something else with that."
Absolutely.
So yeah, maybe
we
maybe
need
be a fun
levity after we've
Yeah.
now the 4 of us have recorded somewhere around 3 full hours of content on
For
net
sure.
Oh,
neutrality.
more than that.
And
Net neutrality, yes.
I honest to God don't think we're done.
No. Well, I mean, the problem is
it's not done until it's decided.
It is decided. It's just it hasn't made
Mr.
made
Mike,
public.
you started somewhere.
the football game is not over until the last
there
person
could
gets
be
a
a
touchdown.
There could be a Hail Mary.
You started with a 15-year-old analogy to where we're at on net neutrality. Can you recap us? Are you still there?
Let's restart that. Could you just start from the beginning. would
Yeah.
you?
We haven't heard from you in a while.
No,
Been over there punching away at stuff.
He's looking on Reddit.
No, well, I was looking over it. But
What is Reddit? That's another. We can have that because this guy doesn't know.
We'll talk afterwards.
We'll talk
right?
afterwards.
Yeah, like
we'll
seriously.
we'll shoot pool and we'll still be live.
Never
But
done. Yeah, I
Don't-
racked them up.
that one gets deleted.
Don't worry, Grant. Everyone else knows. You're the only one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, everybody knows who
Jennifer
wrote this.
Lawrence.
So what were we talking about? The
Are you still where you were an hour and a half ago about that
No.
we're screwed?
yeah. I mean, we talked about kind of the futility and where the FCC is at right now, and who the members are, and where their votes are at, and how it's very, very, very unlikely that we're going to sway their votes.
And even if we do, I go back to my original statement.
They've
even
already
if,
been paid off.
Even if we do save net neutrality and it sticks, do you honestly still want it under the FCC, who the chairman says we want to dismantle that?
Well, let's just say they don't pass it. Within the next year, they could pass it. I mean, they'll just bring it up again.
And let's go positive on this. So they go a direction that we don't want. So fight.
Well, that's the thing is
I promise. Scout's honor. I'm an Eagle Scout. Here it comes.
On my honor.
On my honor. I don't have a dog in the fight as far as...
You just threw up one of these.
There you go. as far as parties go.
Glad that's
but
coming back.
our last president, the one before the Agent Orange, said when we make progress, you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps, that's how it is. So we take a step back, let's fight, let's go forward. Whatever side of this aisle you're on, if you are a customer out there and if you are a user, if you are
it should be bipartisan.
If you are a public American citizen that believes that you should not be regulated by these
Yeah, I mean, if you use the internet,
what was the word of the
What was
the word of the day?
Oligopoly.
Oligopoly. I want to say oligarchy. What's the difference?
That's a government
Of a small group of
that's
people.
a form of government oligarchy.
Oligopoly is companies.
Is a ruling of several
class.
companies.
I learned something today.
TIL. Today I learned. I think we're gonna cut it at this point.
Yeah.
You got
We got one more. Let's hear it.
I mentioned the website where the petitions are for the White House.
The battle for the net, or the
no,
different one? Different one.
The one where it requires a response from the White House.
Oh, sure.
And I said it was We the People. It's like the title at the top of the page is We the People, but the URL is actually petitions.whitehouse.gov.
What was that again?
Petitions.whitehouse.gov.
One more time.
One more time, yeah.
Petitions.whitehouse.gov.
And I believe Mr. Ben, who we've referenced a few
Thank you.
times, actually
Thank you, Mike.
posted that as a comment
Oh, he
on
did.
this very
Good.
Facebook.
So check the comments.
There is a petition posted on there that simply says "Do not repeal net neutrality," and it got the requirement. By the way, was 100,000 signatures within 30 days. You have to get 100,000
Within 30 minutes, they got 100,000.
I win again. I won before when you research where level 3 is from. It takes 100,000. I knew that.
and they had 245,325 within 30 days. So
Wow.
Over double.
so they
2.5
should be a
almost.
response at some point. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
Do we have any final thoughts, or did we pretty much say all we wanted to say?
Final thoughts. Don't do it. Don't do it. Keep the net neutrality. Keep it. Keep it neutral. Keep it for everyone.
keep it free and open.
Keep it free.
free and open. Yeah.
Here's my 10 seconds.
It's not free. We pay for the internet,
Thank
right?
you, Vanna.
We pay-
Backswing beer from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh
Backswing
yeah.
Brewing Company.
Backswing Brewing.
I don't know
Company.
if you're gonna.
You don't
delete
need
this.
to keep holding the can up there. We need to see our faces.
It's the tits.
The bee's knees. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. Bees
bee's
knees.
knees.
Way better.
Yep. Yeah, this has been an episode of Drink Talk. We've been talking on net neutrality,
Which is a horrible thing.
kind of
Don't
it's
take it away from us.
kind of a geeky topic, but it's so far-reaching and affects everyone. But we have been drinking on a lot of Backswing Brewing Company beer. We have been also sampling on the Stone Enjoy by Christmas Day
Oh
beer.
yeah, that
was
is
the last
good stuff.
one. And my name's Brian.
I'm Britt. Come on, is there other
Mike,
people here?
I'm Mike.
Michael and Grant.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. We got the old crew back from the
Yeah.
original episode. So
Getting
thanks.
the band back together.
Yeah.
The old devils are at it again.
We'll see you next week.
Yep. Check us out next week.
Have
Thanks.
a good night.
All right, Grant.